What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, I made a surprise appearance today, even though I wasn't going to. But I thought I can take 10 minutes and do something here. And I don't usually do this, but again, I'm so eccentric that sometimes I do. So, one of my followers on Facebook, his name is Iqbal, okay, and he said, well, you've been doing interviews of all these astrologers. What about we do your interview and answer some of the questions that we have? So then usually when I say no, I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it. Who knows, I might make a habit of it once a month. So I might just ask somebody on my Facebook, hey, give me 5 questions, I'll do a video. So that's how I'm eccentric like that. I didn't post it on my main Facebook wall because then I would have had 200 questions from people, and that would be unfair to not answer those questions. It'll be like, oh, you picked his over his. You picked his because he's this. I'm eccentric. So I'm gonna answer 5 questions from Iqbal, and okay. So his first question is this: what is the actual effects of Mahadasha and Antardasha? Is it 100%, or is it like 80-20 or 80-30, like 80% Mahadasha effect and then 30% Antardasha effect? Well, no, they're both 100%. So if you're going through a Jupiter Mahadasha period, Jupiter is giving 100% of his qualities. Okay, he is giving 100% of his significance. And then when Antardasha comes of Rahu and Saturn and Mars, they're giving their 100%. So it's 100% of the major period and 100% of the sub period. And that's how you judge it. You don't feel like, oh, it's only 80% of Jupiter Mahadasha effect because the other 20% is being covered by Antardasha. No. Jupiter is giving his main significance, okay, and where he's placed and the nakshatra he's placed in, and then Antardasha comes into play. And Antardasha is also 100% of where Mars is placed and what nakshatra Mars is placed. Things like that. Okay, so that's 100%. Okay, so let's move on to next question. Oh my god, sun is coming out. Please don't. I'll have to change the settings of my video again. How do conjunctions or aspect work in Narayani Bhavachalit chart or the NBC chart? Or do they work at all? Please, like if a planet moves from one house and goes backward to the other house, well, that's a simple no. Conjunction and aspects are only studied through the main Rashi chart. Okay, that's the Prashraya and Amsha, that's the 30-degree each house, exactly the way it is. So always study your conjunction and aspects from the main Rashi chart. The Narayani Bhavachalit chart simply does a couple of things. First, it confirms the dasha qualities of the planet. So if a planet moves backwards, what he's doing, so let's say Mars moves from the third house to the second house. What he's doing, he's taking the qualities of the third house and projecting them through the second house in his Mahadasha. And always look at the fact that what nakshatra he's sitting in, he's going to act like that nakshatra, and he's also going to give effects of the houses he's controlling in the main Rashi chart. But all those effects in the Rashi chart of his house placement, nakshatra placement, and the house he's controlling will be exposed through the second house, through family, through speech, through family lineage. Okay, so that's how you read these things. If a planet moves from 12th house to 11th house, that means the source of earning will come through the 12th house things. Foreign lands, foreign products, spirituality, perhaps meditation, yoga. This person can become yoga teacher, anything to do with spirituality, because it's coming in the 11th house of gains. So your gains will come through the foreign things. That's another way to read this. All right, so this is much better. Should have thought about this in the beginning. Now, the next question, Mr. Iqbal asks me, do padhas matter in a conjunction? Where if Mars and Moon are conjunction, are you going to look for not just the nakshatra but padha? No, just stick to the basic fundamentals of conjunction, which is looking at the sign that they're placed in, the degree difference, and the nakshatra. Because yes, nakshatra will matter. So, but it won't matter as much. Okay, it won't matter as much. What really matters is the degree. How close is Moon and Mars together? So how close their influence going to be? Because conjunction really is the significance of a planet towards the other planet. not necessarily the nakshatra placement of them or the padha, but nakshatra, in the nakshatra they are being molded. So moon in Mriksira, while Mars in Rohini would alter it a little bit, but majority of it you will be able to see just by the sign and the house that they're placed in, and the the difference of degree that they have. And you will learn more in my coming book on March 17th, Conjunctions at the Speed of Light, where how other things matter as well. What are the degrees? Is one has a higher degree than the other? Who is winning the war? If they are in a war, what houses that they're placed in? So things like this you will be able to see, especially with my examples in the book, how this matters. But you don't need to worry about the padha as to what padha. Padha is only for the actual just planet itself, what it's doing. And mainly padha are really used in the moon nakshatra, and determining the moon. But you can again fine tune it with every planet, but then you won't have to, because majority of it you can find out just by their house, sign, and degree placement. And then you, if you want to go a little deeper, you can go into nakshatra, but that won't really matter because the two significance coming together and the house rulership of those planets, because nakshatra is really for determining that actual planet, what it's doing, especially in the dasha period, what it's going to do. So that's how you would study that. Then he asks me, if a malefic is with a ruler, does it harm? Does he tame down his malefic nature? Like example, Rahu Ketu with Venus. Okay, no, they don't tame down their maleficness. They actually infuse their malefic effect onto the planet, like Venus. So if Rahu is with Venus, Rahu is going to amplify. First of all, you got to look at the significance of the planet. Is it the natural malefic or natural benefic? Natural malefic will always give natural malefic effect first. No matter if they're Yoga Karka, no matter if they're the Ascendant Lord, no matter if they're ruling the 10th and 9th house, whatever, they're always first giving their malefic influence. Okay, so Rahu will give his malefic influence. So better would be like if Saturn is conjunct with Venus. Even though they're best friends, but first you got to realize Saturn is a natural malefic. Now Saturn's gonna bring the delay, gonna bring like frustration, gonna make planet cold and a bit more disciplined and workaholic towards their thing, and they will not help the planet realize their true significance. Like Venus is about love and relationship, but when it's in conjunct with Saturn, it's a bit more realistic, a bit more practical about love and relationship. It may not be so romantic. But if Saturn is ruling the 4th and 5th house, then he's bringing the qualities of 4th and 5th house, meaning that Venus's significance is now going towards its education, creativity, and home life, and especially mother's nourishment. So those two qualities are being transformed through Saturn. That means those things will be, the Venus will be very disciplined about it. Venus will be very organized about those things, and it'll be a bit more practical about those things. So that's how you judge these things. They never get their thing reduced. Okay, the only time they can get reduced if they're combust with Sun. If Saturn is combust with Sun, then its qualities are being lowered of being malefic, but then it's going to also hurt you. You will not be disciplined. You will not be organized in your life. You won't be able to work really hard or be a workaholic towards your goals. So there's always negative and positive. So you always would want a planet to not be combust. Okay. Then there is our position in Lagna chart completely ruled out for predicting a dasha. As I was watching your video as I saw a video where you said no, but I want to know percentage. No, like I said, if your planet in Bhautala's chart moves to a house before it, what it's doing in its dasha period, he's still going to bring the qualities of that house. He's still going to bring, if it's Mars is placed in the 3rd house and Mars goes into the 2nd house, Mars is still going to give effect of the 2nd house and the places he rules in your Rashi chart, but he's going to express it through the 2nd house. That's how you study this thing. So there's no percentage of it. It's just that's how it's going to reveal itself in the dasha. And another thing I want to discuss about this thing is, like somebody was asking on my Michael Jordan video that, well, Michael Jordan has 4 dhan yogas. I have 4 dhan yogas and they're not manifesting. Well, First of all, look at your Narayani Bhavachala chart. Has the conjunction that was creating the Dhan Yoga moved to another house? If it moves to the other house, that means it's a very weak Dhan Yoga. Where Michael Jordan's Narayani Bhavachala chart is exactly the same. Planets stay intact. Second, are those planets creating a yoga in the D9 chart? Are they creating a Dhan Yoga or Raj Yoga in the D9 chart? And if they are, that's a very strong confirmation of a Dhan Yoga. But if the Dhan Yoga planets are either debilitated or in a bad position in a D9 chart, that's not going to manifest. And Michael Jordan still has a very strong D9 chart. Okay, so this is why Dhan Yogas and Raj Yogas do not manifest, because their position has changed in the Narayani Bhavachala chart. So even though it's showing a conjunction in a Rashi chart, it's not a very strong conjunction. It's a very loose conjunction, so very light effect of the Dhan Yoga. And another thing to remember about Narayani Bhavachal's chart, what Dennis Harness says, and it's very true, is that planets will manifest itself. Like your Rashi chart shows who you are. But what you do is through Narayani Bhavachal's chart, is through a Bhavachal's chart. So like he was giving an example of David Frawley, his Saturn is in the 12th house, so it makes him very spiritual. It makes him, very dignified. It makes him very structured and organized towards his spirituality, towards what he does. He works towards spirituality because that's what Saturn makes him do. But since Saturn moves into the 11th house of David Frawley, it shows that he will take his spirituality and create organizations, create huge organization, and through that it will give him gains. And David Frawley is going around the world giving lectures, giving speeches, creating organization regarding spirituality and showing the value of Vedas and the Jyotish. And through that, that's his lifestyle, and that his income. So that's how you see Narayani Bhavachal's chart. This was my little answer to you guys, and yes, it may happen again next month. I'll just be feeling eccentric. Okay, give me a question and I'll answer it. All right. So if you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know more about astrology, check out the link below. Check out my book there, Astrology at the Speed of Light. And when you get the book, I will send you the link to look at your own chart. Just make sure you follow the directions below. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow with Mercury in Aries. Bye-bye.
I give you quality, honey, so put your money on me. With my authority, surely you wanna get up on it. I give you quality, honey, so put your money on me. With my authority, surely you wanna get up on it. I'm super fly with the rhymes I supply. Float like a butterfly, high up in the sky. Stink like a bee before I touch the ground.